All right, hello. My name is Jeff Hemphill, and I'm the Chief Technical Officer for Schaeffler in the Americas. Schaeffler may be the biggest company that you've never heard of, so I'll talk a little bit about how a pioneer in motion is driving innovation in hydrogen and fuel cell commercialization. So a little bit about Schaeffler. We're an automotive and industrial supplier, about 83,000 employees, 16 billion in sales. We're very proud of our innovative strength. You can see more than 1,000 patents registered in 2023. So typically we're the second or third highest filer of patents in Germany, which is where the headquarters is. And we serve almost everything that moves. So you can see our 10 sectors that we serve here. Literally everything from bicycles all the way through airplanes, wind turbines, everything in between. So anything that moves, we're there. And if you have heard of Schaeffler before, you probably know us as a bearing company. So we make every type of rolling element bearing you can imagine. And so you may be wondering, how does a bearing company decide to get into the hydrogen space? So that's what I'll show you a little bit about here today. So it started with our commitment to sustainability. So some years ago, we made a very serious commitment to sustainability to get to net zero by 2040. So a very aggressive target there. We have 46 of our plants already on purely green electricity. And we focus a lot of our product portfolio on green products, such as electric motors for electric axles for electric cars, just for example. So we were actually selected as one of the UN's top 50 sustainability examples. So that is a commitment we take very seriously. And we looked at our profile, and as I mentioned, we divide all of our products into what type of motion or how do they contribute to motion. So we start at the bottom with the very simple parts, components, like the bearings that I mentioned. We also do a wide variety of engine and transmission components. And then as well, we have a whole line of actuators, also for automotive as well as industrial applications. Then all the electric motors and electric drives to support the actuators and the electric axles for the electrification revolution. And then we came to energized motion, which is all about storing and transferring energy. And so we looked at our core competencies and tried to think, how could we contribute to this new hydrogen economy, because it's going to be so key to our future. Actually, one of the big influences on Schaeffler is our biggest part of our carbon footprint by far is the steel that we purchase. And the only known way right now to make green steel is with hydrogen. So we're going to need a lot of hydrogen. So it was important to us. So we looked to our core competencies that we had developed by producing all of these products over the years, 75 years actually. And we have a great expertise in cold forming, sheet metal forming and stamping. We're also quite good at specialty coatings. Actually, about a third of our products have some kind of coating applied to them, pretty highly engineered coatings. And we do injection molding, and also we've built up a good understanding of complex engineered systems. And so if you put those competencies together, it occurred to us that we could be a pretty decent supplier of bipolar plates. And as you know, in a fuel cell or an electrolyzer stack, there are hundreds of bipolar plates. So these are going to have to be produced in automotive volumes, and we are an automotive volume producer. So we thought that would be a good fit. So we are actually in the bipolar plate business. I'll talk about our joint venture in a minute, but production will be starting this month actually in France. And we're applying that expertise both to fuel cells on the automotive side. So we actually have a department in our automotive division that's responsible for the fuel cells, and then also in electrolyzers in the industrial part of our business. So you can see several of our electrolyzers there up to our 1 megawatt stack, which we have on test right now. So I'll start with some of the fuel cells. You can see our first two generations of fuel cells here. the Alpha and the Bravo. So when we went to the Bravo stack, which we're just now finishing the testing on, we achieved a 20% improvement in power density. And of course, this is all designed to automotive standards. And most importantly, what we think Schaeffler could bring to the table is cost control through our manufacturing expertise. So all of this is designed with the manufacturing processes in mind from the very beginning. So we're pretty happy with the performance of the Bravo stack. Now, of course, if you look at a fuel cell vehicle, there's a lot more going on than just the stack of bipolar plates there. There are all kinds of air path, hydrogen path, coolant loops. And it turns out that in some of our automotive products, we have a good fit for many of those things. So on the right side, you can see some of the products we can offer, like airfoil bearings. So if you have a compressor moving hydrogen, you can't have any oil in the bearings. So we make a totally dry bearing. Actually, the shaft runs on a film of air. So those are useful for the compressors. We make a hydrogen ejector unit for recirculation of hydrogen. That's based on some of our engine valve train technology. And then as well, we make thermal management modules for everything from conventional vehicles to hybrid to electric vehicles. And you also need to move coolant around in a fuel cell vehicle. So we offer those as well. And then, of course, the foundation product being the bipolar plate. We've assembled the bulk of these components into a demo vehicle, which if you're in Germany and have an interest, we can organize a test drive for you. So you can see we're upgrading now to our Bravo stack. We have our hydrogen recirculator, thermal management. As well, we offer through one of our divisions control units. So we have a control for the hydrogen storage in there with our own control unit. So the technology is really rolling on the road here. And finally, on the fuel cell side, we come to our joint venture we call InnoPlate. So it's a joint venture between Schaeffler and Symbio, and it will produce the bipolar plate subassemblies, which then either Symbio or other customers can build up into a complete fuel cell stack, fuel cell system. So it's a 50-50 joint venture. As I mentioned, bipolar plate production for both Symbio as well as others. Hope to get to 50 million plate capacity by 2030. So as I mentioned, you need a lot of these, and every single one of them has to be perfect, and that's what we're good at, so that's why we're in the business. And it's in Haguenau, France, and as I said, the production is starting up this month, so we're getting rolling there. And then if we turn to our electrolyzer portfolio, we started in the electrolyzer side with an acquisition of a company called Hedron. And you can see some of their products there. And the biggest one, the 1 megawatt stack, is our serious offering for significant applications for hydrogen generation. So that's on test both at labs in the US and in Europe right now. And we have a limited production capacity available for the 1 megawatt stack already. So what do we bring unique on the electrolyzer side? Well, the company Hedron had some unique technology, especially an integrated cooling loop, which results in a better thermal management, better distribution of the heat throughout the electrolyzer, and also less risk of contamination with that cooling loop. It's designed for easy integration, so all the connection features are right on top there. We can, of course, constantly upgrade it as we get better and better at making bipolar plates. I mentioned we're undergoing significant testing at a couple of certified labs. And of course, we're going to do an in-house vertically integrated supply chain based on our automotive expertise there. And then we have overall a large active area, which results in a good production of hydrogen there. So we've also got a demonstrator going of this technology. So at our plant in Schweinfurt, we've decided to fire one of our heat treat furnaces on hydrogen instead of natural gas. So you can see there we have a containerized solution with our 1 megawatt stack. So we'll produce 450 kilograms a day of hydrogen and use that in our furnace. And that by itself, just that one furnace, saves 500 tons of CO2 per year. So pretty impressive just for a first demonstrator project, if you will. So we're pretty happy to see that technology working as well. So why do we think we're the right partner? Just to sum up the reasons I mentioned, so we're mass production expertise, but also at precision is probably the main reason. But we also have a global production footprint, and these things are heavy. So they're very thin plates. You can see in our booth right over there. So you would think it's not very heavy, but essentially you're making a block of steel about this big by stacking up hundreds of these plates. So when you go to ship that, you'd like it to be close to where you're going to deliver it to. Otherwise, you're burning CO2 to get it where you need it to go. I mentioned the metal forming and processing. We've built up quite expertise in, for example, flow field design. So we make torque converters, which live and die from fluid flow. And so we were able to apply that expertise to optimize the flow field. I mentioned the surface technology. And then we are in renewables for a long time and for the long haul. So we're the #1 worldwide supplier of bearings for wind turbines. So we know the renewable market quite well. So with that, we are looking for partners, both on the fuel cell side as bipolar plate customers, or on the electrolyzer side as someone to integrate a complete system with us. I mentioned our booth is over there at C38, so we have both a fuel cell and a electrolyzer bipolar plate on display, as well as some of the other components. So feel free to stop by and say hello, and we'll be happy to talk further. And I guess I have 2 minutes for questions if there are any. Nope. Everything clear? Okay. Well, thank you very much.